Hey, YouTube, it's So from So's Real Thoughts. We are here live on YouTube and Facebook, so hit me up on whichever. I prefer YouTube, obviously, because we can engage in conversation more. So, yeah, I just like it. Just a few things so we can get stuff out of the way. A few announcements. I recently went to Iceland, and I usually don't talk about things personal, but I recently went to Iceland and filmed like this epic film vlog, and so I want to share that with you guys. So link down below, there is a link to part 1, 2, 3. So check that out. I've been trying to make videos more often. As you can see, I did an Oscars recap video the other night, and yesterday I posted up my review of John Wick 2, which I loved, which was technically would have been considered in my February film favorites, but because I made a completely separate film review for that, I have no reason to talk about it because you know that I loved John Wick 2. So go check that out. Alrighty. And yeah, be sure to hit up my blog, www.sosrealthoughts.com, for more trailer reviews and so much more. We're here to talk about my February film favorites, which is stacked because, as you know, January was kind of like a very slow month for Oscar faves, and then February is like really ramping up, and this month I really wanted to watch more of the Oscar nominated films. We'll get to that a little bit later, but first film I watched was XX. If you don't know about it, it is a horror anthology film directed by Roxanne Benjamin, Karen Kusama, St. Vincent, the singer, Jovanka Vukovic. And it had animation in between, stringing all these stories by Sofia Carrillo. It premiered at Sundance Film Festival, and it got picked up by Magnet Releasing, which is a Magnolia sister company, and now it's on VOD. So I got a sneak peek to watch the film, and I always feel I linked down, I think for once I linked down all the trailers below. And so if you watch the trailer, there's some there's a certain kind of horror that female face that is unlike anything else, and I feel like sometimes it's a little bit more traumatic and really just a lot more scarier, especially in the female perspective. So you have the most 4 deadly tales from 4 killer directors. That's how they're saying it. And there are 4 stories, and of course Karen Kusama, who is a damn genius. She's unreal. She did Girl Fight, Jennifer's Body, The Invitation, which I did a review for, so check that out. And then she did the last short film in this anthology horror, and it was by far one of the most incredible stories I've ever seen. Especially, she has a son, and it's about her having a son, very like Rosemary's Baby kind of vibes. And it was such a good horror anthology film. So you have to go watch it. It's on VOD now. It's available. Go watch it. All 4 films were really terrifying, and they're all very different. I know St. Vincent, this is her directorial debut short film, and she did a really great job. It was a little bit more quirky and very different kind of horror than what we would normally anticipate in the horror genre, but nonetheless, it was terrific. Definitely recommend. Another horror film that, wow, we're really on the horror. I'm like turning into such a horror buff, despite the fact that I hate like I cannot stand horror films. I watched M. Night Shyamalan's Split, which a lot of people recommended. James McAvoy, Anya Taylor-Joy, Haley Lou Richardson, Jessica Sulu, and let's see. So the premise, if you don't know, 3 girls are kidnapped by a man with a diagnosed 23 distinct personalities. They must try to escape before the apparent emergence of a frightful new 24th. So, how can I had no expectations, for one. M. Night Shyamalan, I don't know if I've ever seen a film of his since The Sixth Sense. Very sad. I know there were a lot of his films are a hit or miss, and for me, I just didn't want to take the risk. But I think that's the beauty of his work, is that they're either hit or misses, and they'll keep you thinking on your toes. And by far, I mean, I heard The Visit was really great, so I'll have to check that out. But Split just sounded so fantastic, so I wanted to watch it. And I didn't get to catch it at AFI when it, I think, had a sneak preview. So I finally got to watch it, and I just loved how it was so different. And James McAvoy was a damn beauty to watch on screen as he morphed into these different characters. And like not even for 1 second did I ever question his characters. And I just, oh man, and Anya Joy Taylor is such a joy to watch. I just loved it. I don't know. I know that a lot of people were saying, kind of semi-spoiler alert, I know a lot of people were saying that it fetishizes or romanticizes illness in ways, but I didn't see it like that. I mostly saw it as something very beautiful and kind of embracing your quote unquote like faults or flaws, just completely, yeah, embracing it and not playing the victim. And I think that's what was the message behind it, is like not being the victim and taking commanding power into your own life, where you don't have to rely on somebody. But I mean, that's a whole different thing. But I think after I watched Split, I was just so engaged with the story, and it was perfectly paced. I loved, even the ending was so insane and kind of went off the rails. I enjoyed it completely, and I just thought it was such a good time. It kept me on my toes the entire time, and I was truly terrified. And it kind of shows you the power of the human spirit in ways. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought, because this is a film that probably deserves a lot more conversation. Yeah, it was very intense. And James McAvoy, I haven't seen him that great since, I don't really remember, but he was just so good. I was so into it. And M. Night Shyamalan, man, even though I know there was a twist ending of Split that everybody was like, what? That kind of alluded to a sequel or a ultimate battle. But we'll see what happens with that. And I am forever an M. Night Shyamalan fan, because he's just so different from anybody. And I think that's what cinema should do. It should keep you guessing, and whether you like it or not, you'll still have a good time, and it'll really keep you thinking. And I think that's the whole key to making movies. So the third film is I Am Not Your Negro, which was nominated for the Academy Awards. It did not win, which is a shame, but we all knew that OJ would win. This is a documentary by Raoul Peck. It's based on James Baldwin's unfinished manuscript, Remember This House, narrated by Samuel L. Jackson. The film explores the history of racism in the United States through Baldwin's reminiscence of the civil rights leader Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. So Baldwin wrote this like reflecting back on the murders of his 3 friends. And what I found so interesting, because right before this, I think for my January film favorites, I said that Ava DuVernay's The 13th was one of my film favorites, and it is. And contrasting to that, which was also nominated, to this, I Am Not Your Negro, it was such a different perspective that needed to be part of the conversation. And I know people were like, this is a must-see, and I honestly, yes, if anything that is thought-provoking and very emotional and kind of reflective is always a must-see, especially because I don't know too much about James Baldwin, and kind of hearing his experiences, especially because he's not Malcolm X. He's not on the extreme side. He's not Martin Luther King Jr. He's not on the peace side. He's kind of in the middle. He's a neutral kind of party, really didn't grow like any other like African American in America during those times. And so he offered such a fresh and different perspective to the conversation of racism in America. And the way he put it is just, it was just very beautiful. I snapshotted a quote he had on how we can change this shift, not this shift, but like how we could alleviate the racism in America, which seems almost impossible, but slowly but surely we will get there. And he said something like, there's so much hate within these people if they're so scared to let go of the hate, because once they let go of the hate, then they'll have to face the pain, which I thought was like so beautiful, because it really is. There's a lot of hate and pain that goes with why people are racist and why they continue to support systematic racism and everything else. And man, this if you look at their Wikipedia page, they've been nominated for almost everything for best documentary, and won almost everything in every film festival. And I cannot emphasize enough how much of a must-see I Am Not Your Negro is. His crucial observations on American race relations, and a sobering reminder of how far we've yet to go, which I think is the most important thing. I think he offers, this is what's happened in the United States, but this is what we could do. And he kind of offers a almost a solution, unlike other documentaries that have come out where it kind of talks mostly about the past. And yeah. So the last film that I'm going to talk about, which is probably possibly the most controversial film in this list, is Jordan Peele's Get Out. I did a trailer reaction for this, which I almost died watching it. So go check that out. If you haven't watched Jordan Peele's Get Out, please refrain from entering this conversation, because it's something that you have to watch in order so we can talk about it. You can't be like, oh, I didn't watch it, but I'm going to give you my 2 cents about why this film is anti-white, because that's not the case. This Get Out is not an anti-white film. It is let me just say one thing. You can't tell somebody what they're offended by. You just can't. What they are offended by or not. Like, it just doesn't work like that. You have to respect someone's opinion about what they feel. And it's completely validated. Anyways, so Get Out is, how do I wrote that the trailer was one of the best things I've ever seen. It's unlike any other horror films because it's so much rooted in realism, and yet he's able to make it so comedic with his comedic style. And there's so much brilliance because it taps into like white liberalism and how like your white allies and little nuances on how people are kind of perpetuate their racism. And there's just so many little details in the dialogue, the action. This was a very, very tight script. It's one of the best scripts I've ever seen because every dialogue and every word that they say was just so relevant to everything, and it's things I've heard in real life. And yes, I'm not Black, but kind of being in that environment and watching this film, I can still empathize because I've had people say racist, non-racist stuff to me, as in like just because I'm Asian, they'll say something like Asian related. It's like, you didn't need to say that. You didn't need to say that at all. But the brilliance of Get Out is that because it's rooted in realism, and they take almost the history of how white people have treated Black people and into this story where it is just, I'm trying to articulate the horror that is revealed at the end because it is so traumatizing. Okay, I'm not going to spoil it for you guys if you guys didn't watch it. Just no spoiler alert. But you have to watch Get Out. He just taps into everything that is so relevant in this satirical horror movie is Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, but like really twisted, and will really make you fear what could happen if you were dating a white person. Not that all white people are the same. Let's get that, straight. But this is one story where, as a horror film, you have to go to the extreme. You have to. And I'm pretty sure Jordan Peele was thinking, like, what's the worst thing that could ever happen to me? Dating a white woman. And this is the result. And it takes conventional aspects of the horror genre but flips it on its head, and you are guessing till the very end. I was like sweating. I was like, I like couldn't figure out how this story was going to end, because in real life people just die. People don't get their happy ending. People don't escape. They're always stuck in the system. And so, man, this was so beyond brilliant, and it was able to balance just it's satire, yet it's oh God, how do I say this? There's just so much to the film that I loved and that kept me guessing. One thing, so I haven't been able to sleep in the last couple of nights like crazy because I kept thinking about Get Out. Like I'm not like this is like a serious thing, because I was like, I've been trying to sleep for like ages, and Betty Gabriel, who plays Georgina, the maid in Get Out, her performance was so terrific. Every time I try to go to sleep, her face pops up, and I am continuously so haunted by her performance. It was just so freaking good. And beyond the premise and how great the story is, let's talk about the cast. Daniel Kaluuya, terrific. Apparently, let me just double check so I don't give you guys wrong information. So Daniel Kaluuya is joining Steve McQueen's next film, which is awesome. And he's British, so even more awesome. So Daniel Kaluuya, brilliant. Just the way he, he's just like American boy, dating a white girl, and he's just like very casual. You could barely, British people are so good at playing American people. It's ridiculous. Allison Williams, holy shit. Allison Williams was so good. Especially there's a moment where there's just a moment and she just turns and she's just so freaking good. Catherine Keener, favorite white mom, hands down. She can do no wrong. I love her. I love her hippie ways. I love how she's typecasted as a hippie mom. Catherine Keener. Bradley Whitford was also great. I don't really remember him in anything, but I appreciate him. This cast was so freaking good. Caleb Landry Jones, whose face haunts me to death, which I realized he was in Heaven Knows What, which is a terrific movie. You have to watch it. Marcus Henderson, Betty Gabriel. I can't even think about her face. I'm gonna get chills. I was gonna do a separate film review for Get Out, but I'm just gonna talk about it in my film favorites. Because I know that, for one, I don't want to edit the trailers or look at pictures because I haven't been able to sleep for 3 days. I want to be able to sleep. Lakeith Stanfield, just as good. So the major twist, also oh my god, I'm so bad with names. Lorel Howlery, oh my god. You guys, please excuse me. One more attempt. Lorel Howlery. Okay, cool. He was the comedic relief, and he was just so brilliant. I loved him. So there we have it. We have a great story that has so much nuances to real life and is such a great satire and is a film that will make you feel very uncomfortable no matter what your ethnicity is. But it is the uncomfortableness that we need to face to realize that this is what Black people go through. This cast was so stacked beyond words. Every person was so terrific. I cannot. And the haunting kind of twist at the end is what really gets you, because that's what I kept thinking about, that these people are, okay, no spoiler alert. I mean, no spoilers, but I just feel like I gotta say it's one of the best horror films I've seen, hands down. Yeah, okay, I think I'm done talking about that. So those were my February film favorites. So we got XX, Split, I Am Not Your Negro, and Get Out. If you need more, I was gonna add John Wick 2, but you know that I just did a review for that, so go check that out and watch a whole separate review for just that, because it's worth it. These 4 films were so beyond great. I realized that 3 out of 4 are horror films, which I kind of need to stop doing or watching, because I need to chill on the horror, because I'm not gonna be able to go to sleep ever then. But they were so good. Every one of them was so good. I cannot emphasize that enough. And I'm so glad that the Oscars are over. I'm so glad that Moonlight won. I'm so glad that we have more films coming out. And yeah, let me know what your February film favorites were, if there were films that I missed that I should be watching right now. Other than that, like I said, I put all the links down below of the trailers, my trailer reactions, whatever. If you come back, I'll probably put the timestamps and in the beginning of the film. or in the beginning of the video, I mentioned that I am going to share with you my vlogs that I shot in Iceland. So the link is down below as well. I'll put that for you guys. And other than that, I think that's about it. February was a stacked month. March will be just as great, hopefully. I know Logan is coming out. We'll have to get around to that. I've been in bed for like this whole week, like every single day. So this is, yes. Anyways, let me know what your favorites were. Definitely check out my website at www.sosrealthoughts.com for more trailer reactions, film reviews, and whatnot. I will see you guys on the flip side. Bye.